Before we begin, a few years ago, I was searching for a planner that actually worked for coaches, something that helped me stay focused on my coaching business, but also the reflective side of actually growing as a person and growing my practice as a coach as well. And I couldn't find one, so I created my own. 3 years later, it's become a core part of how hundreds, if not thousands, of coaches plan their year. And I'm really excited to share with you, as my valued podcast community, a free online digital download of the planner you will find in the show notes. If you are like me and prefer a printed copy that you can write in, then you'll also find the link to the Amazon version in the show notes too. Or if you are the type, a bit like me also, where you can have a planner, but you very rarely will make time for planning, then join me at a live Dare Greatly online workshop on Thursday, the 4th of December, and I will post you a printed planner, some lovely extras so we can plan together, or you can buy the online version of the workshop if you have already purchased your own planner. You will find the details of all three options in the show notes. And my wish is that it helps you to plan for a aligned and prosperous year. Today, I'm going to talk about something that every coach faces, whether you are just starting out or you've been doing it for years. It's that slow drift away from momentum. That moment when you realize I've stopped showing up in the way I said I would. And it's really subtle and you don't consciously decide to step back. It just kind of happens and drifts. You get busy, you miss a few days, and then it can feel really hard to get back into the swing of it. I'm Jo Lott, the host of this podcast, and I help coaches get clients with honesty, not hype. Whatever the reason that you have stopped showing up in the way you want to, that gap between what you plan to do and what you are actually doing starts to widen. And when it does, that self-doubt rushes in. You can get all of the fear about coming back to work, about posting again, and start to get a blank when you think about posting on LinkedIn or whatever it is that you have stopped doing. So in today's episode, let's talk about why it happens and, more importantly, how to get you back started again. The first reason this happens is you are confusing consistency with that huge level of intensity. Often you can start with unrealistic expectations that you're going to post every single day for a month, and then you lose momentum because it's really hard, if you haven't done that before, to maintain that level of activity. So you can end up starting with that intensity, keeping up for a while, and then essentially burning out, utterly exhausted because you put so much energy in. Consistency, on the other hand, is quiet. It's rhythm. It's a choice to do something sustainably, not perfectly. So if you find yourself saying, I've lost all consistency, what you probably mean is, I've been trying to run at a pace that isn't sustainable for me. So start smaller than maybe feels necessary. If you've stopped showing up on social media, don't plan an entire month's content before you start. Start with one honest post this week without a plan to do another one. The momentum will come after you have taken action. If you've stopped reflecting on your business, don't rebuild your planner or feel like it's too late. Just take 10 minutes to write down one page about what you learned this month. Showing up doesn't always need to be forceful. It can be a slow, steady rhythm that you can actually maintain. Reason 2 you can stop showing up is working without reflection. So if you forget to stop and see how far you've come, this can be a real blocker. It's really easy to just keep busy all the time, maybe make the same mistakes again and again and again. I know I have often said to my coach, I'm so tired of saying this because it's just a pattern that's keeping me going around in circles about some of my own personal tendencies. When you are not reflecting, Your brain doesn't get that feedback it needs to stay motivated when you aren't looking for the wins, then it's really, really hard to continue. That's why I send my clients a gratitude journal when they start working with me, because it's so important to allow yourself to see the small wins, and that builds the momentum to continue. Each week, ask yourself 3 simple questions. What worked? What didn't? And what did I learn? And what are my priorities for next week? When you have a consistent rhythm to reflection, you will be amazed at what can happen. Reason 3 you maybe have stopped showing up is that you're doing it alone. This is the most common one. It's that you're trying to hold yourself accountable in isolation. When you work for long enough, your standards start to quietly drop. No one will notice if you've stopped posting. No one will say, hey, what's happened? I haven't seen you lately. And that doesn't mean you need someone to chase you or constantly keep you accountable. But often we just need that reminder to hold you to your own standards. Why did this matter to you? And remind you that it did used to matter. For coaches, that's even more important, as we often spend so much time holding space and caring for others and rarely get held ourselves. I used to hold these great events called Let's Coach, and every month we used to coach and be coached, and it was such a powerful space. I'm now brainstorming how I can bring it back. I was fortunate, although I say fortunate, I made a decision to have a personal coach all throughout my business building journey. And I really did make huge progress compared to most of the other coaches that I was in contact with at the time. And I really do put it down to, yes, prioritizing the business, but also actually being coached myself, because when we're starting out, we're often cutting costs. Therefore, we don't always invest in our own coaching. So it's really important to me to be able to figure out a way of providing that opportunity to both coach and keep your coaching skills up to date, because again, often when you're building your business, you are prioritizing that and maybe haven't got the client work in yet. But also actually being coached consistently yourself, to hear your own words reflected back to you, to hear your own vision, for someone to help ground you in what is really important in the best possible way. When you build some sort of structure into your practice, it stops you feeling like it's something you have to remember to do, and it just starts to become how you operate and your rhythm in your business. So if you have drifted, if you found yourself a little off rhythm, or your life is a bit like most of ours when we do these things when we remember and when we feel like it, then here is the simplest way to start again. Don't try and fix it all. Just do one tiny thing that you used to do to return to your rhythm. Maybe that is 3 minutes of meditation, 5 minutes of yoga, sending 2 connection requests on LinkedIn. Just pick one very small action that reminds you that you are still in the game. You're in control. You are contributing to your goals. Take some time once a week to do a weekly reflection. Like I mentioned earlier, I do each week and ask myself, what went well? What didn't? What could have been better? And what did I learn? And what are my priorities for next week? And find a place where you can keep all of these important reflections in your business. This is exactly why I created the Coach's Planner, because it's really easy to have your niche statement somewhere online and forget it. And it's really easy to set quarterly goals and then not really remember what they are. So do download the 2026 Coach's Planner if you haven't got it already. There is a free online version as a gift to you, my valued community. If you prefer a printed copy like I do, then you'll also find the link to the Amazon version in the show notes. Or if you need even more help, a bit like me, because planning is not always at the top of my list, then join me on Thursday, the 4th of December for the online planning session. It's not just planning, it's called Dare Greatly. It's a beautiful space where you will reconnect with your business as a whole and plan your amazing 2026. So you'll also find the link to that workshop in the show notes. So it doesn't need to be full speed ahead. Momentum is built in quiet, tiny steps like these, where you consciously choose your business again instead of having to restart. So if you are ready to build that rhythm again, do take one of those 3 options. Either download the planner, purchase it on Amazon, or come join me to plan together on Thursday, the 4th of December. The planner will take you step by step through that process of building your business, and take one tiny step today. Because you do not need to overhaul your whole business or throw the baby out of the bathwater. You just need to spend a few minutes reconnecting with what's important for you in a systematic way, which is what the planner is designed to do, and start showing up again one tiny step at a time. I hope you are motivated to go out there now and pay into the value bank of your business, so you can eventually be paid in return. It was wonderful to spend time with you. And like I say at the end of every episode, trust yourself, believe in yourself, and be the wise gardener who keeps on watering the seed. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Women in the Coaching Arena. I have a mass of free resources on my website, joannalottcoaching.com. That's Joanna with an A and Lott with 2 T's, joannalottcoaching.com. And I'll also put links in the show notes below. Let me know if you found this episode useful, share it with a friend, and leave me a review, and I will personally thank you for that. Remember to trust yourself, believe in yourself, and be the wise gardener who keeps on watering the seed. Get into the arena, dare greatly, and try.